Moto3 World Championship that has provided us with, well, unbelievable racing.
Feel like a father figure, Aki Ayo to Luis Salom. Big hug, big arm around Luis Salom before the start of the race. And everyone down there. I understand that the big boss of KTM, Stefan Pira, is here this weekend, and he said we're out there to win. He hasn't apparently been to any other discipline at Supercross, Motocross, where KTM have dominated. He said this is a big coup that KTM have 3 riders battling for the championship here in Valencia in Moto3.
Wow, you can cut the tension with a knife, you really can. I know that's an expression we use a great deal, but Alex Rins, well, probably the most nervous. I think he certainly was the most nervous in the press conference when he did really blow a big chance in Motegi a couple of weeks ago, but you don't win 6 Grand Prix this season. You don't close the gap as he has done on those 2 leaders, Vinales and Luis Salom, and that will be at the back of his mind now. And it'd take a brave man to really bet the outcome of this race, and it's sure to come down to those last 3 or 4 laps, perhaps the last lap, perhaps the last bend even.
So it looks like Salom, the last one to take the seat of his bike, just getting his gloves prepared. Front row then, for the start of the showdown in Moto3. Maverick Vinales, Luis Salom and Alex Rins. It's winner takes all in Moto3. You get those 25 points, you're the world champ.
Welcome back to Valencia. Here we go, the final showdown for Moto3. And what a front row. The 3 that can win the title, Rins, Salom and Vinales. Second row, Folger, Miller and Antonelli. Third row, Alex Marquez, Masboum and Farming Karadin.
It's great to have an all-Spanish front row in front of the Spanish fans in this day of reckoning in front of what will be a packed house, as Dylan's already pointed out. The stands are absolutely full. Ana Carrasco, great performance from her. John McPhee, just to point out, heading up row 6, confirmed for that team for next season. Great news for the young Scot. Down there, Isaac Vinales was involved in that collision with Luis Salom in Japan, which looked for one moment as it could have decided the World Championship. It didn't in the end. He's not the villain anymore, but I'm sure he'll be keeping his distance in some way.
So it's 24 laps, 4 kilometers long, the circuit, 2.5 miles, the Ricardo Tormo circuit, named after the double 50cc world champion, a local rider from Valencia who sadly died of leukemia. That's Sandro Cortese looking on. He arrived here last year, of course, as the Moto3 world champion. He still is the Moto3 world champion. In 40 minutes time, it would be Rins, it would be Salom, or it would be Maverick Vinales, who will be on the top step of the podium and at the awards ceremony tonight to receive the FIM certificate as the 2013 Moto3 World Champion.
It's just the second year of Moto3, and what entertainment it's provided in the last 33 races since it was conceived just over a year ago now. And, you know, I really wouldn't like to pick a winner. Dylan, I'm going to put you on the spot first of all before myself and Nick as they go away from the grid. Who was looking like he had it most under control down there?
Well, I've got to go with Vinales. He looked the most relaxed, and I think he's got good reason to, because he technically shouldn't be in this situation. So for him, this is just a bonus. You know, I think he's got the least to lose.
Nick?
I'm going to go for Luis Salom. I think with Aki Ayo around him and the way we've seen him ride the last few laps of many a race, apart from Australia where he made a mistake, I think he'd be the man if it comes to the crunch.
Let's go between the 3 of us. I'll say Alex Rins because of the way he's grown over the second half of this season. He seems to have learned from Salom and the way he's ridden this year. 6 wins, someone in his second year of the championship, and I think Rins has every chance of doing it, but it just shows we can't agree. The fans can't agree. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we will find out in the next, as Nick says, 40 minutes or so, 24 laps of this circuit, which is really made for Moto3. It's a bit small, perhaps, for the MotoGP bikes out there, but Moto3, it's a real fun fest out there for the riders. This is through turn 11. Tight right handle, there'll be lots of shenanigans coming through there. And just imagine on the last lap, we saw last year in Moto3, the race was won in the final corner by a stunning final sector from Danny Kent. And it just shows that it can go right down to turn 14. It can even go to a run to the line, as we saw when Hector Falbel and Gabor Talmashi were battling for the title here a few seasons ago. That's how things stand in the championship. Just 5 points separate Salom, Vinales and Rins. If Rins won and Salom was second, they would be level on points. They'd be level on wins, but Rins has a superior amount of second places, and that's what would decide the championship. Yeah, it is.
There's no fogging of the brain in this one, is it? You know, they're not going to have the right to finish second or third.
All in their own hands.
That's
the
right,
key.
yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
So here we go. We've been waiting 14 long, tortuous days, long flights back from Japan, trips out here to Valencia. The moment has arrived. The red flag has been taken away. 24 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia will decide the outcome of the 2013 Moto3 World Championship.
Best news is they've all got away well. It looked like Salom best, though, from that front row of the grid as they go down to turn one, a very tricky corner. A long run as well down into the first one. It's going to be Salom coming through. Folger has got in front of Rins. Could that be key in the latter stages? But at least they're cleanly through the leaders into turn one and now into the Mick Doohan corner for the very first time. You can see Marquez has made it up a couple of spots into fifth, just tracking his teammates at the moment.
Yeah, very good start from Alex Marquez from the third row of the grid. He's right there. Folger's there. Salom and Vinales. I suppose Rins won't want to be behind Folger too long. But as we speak, already the games are starting because Maverick Vinales has taken the lead from Luis Salom.
Yeah, he thought about it at turn 4, then made the move at turn 5. The race won't be decided in these early stages unless there's a collision of some sort. It's important just to be there. How many times this year have we seen Salom ride very conservatively in these early laps? Now we've got the 1, 2, 3 we wanted as Rins goes through on Folger into turn 8. So it's Vinales from Salom and now Alex Rins up into third spot. Exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, and already Luis Salom showed the front wheel, didn't he? Back to Maverick Vinales. There will be all sorts of games going on. I should imagine they're all mighty relieved that they've started, and now the moment they've been waiting for is here.
Yeah, get through these first couple of laps, get into the rhythm and start to churn out those laps. Vinales pushing things on in the early stages, but you'd think it wouldn't be possible to escape here, because even if you try and do that, they're going to chase you down very quickly, not going to allow you to do the job. Salom, we've seen, will sit at the back, and if no one's escaping, will not abuse his tyres. We'll watch the others doing that and try and save something for the end. And maybe Alex Rins as well. He said, I think I need to do the sort of tactics that Salom has done this season if I want to win the championship. Around through the first lap, the top 3 in the championship in the top 3 positions in the racetrack. Well, it's game on from here. 23 laps to go.
Back in that pit garage, there's going to be a bit of tension. Further down the field, we saw Jonas Folger, of course, in 4th place. Jack Miller, Antonelli, Alex Marquez, all going well. Fabio Caradine also made a decent start. Brad Binder also, of course, he finished 4th here last year. But all eyes now on those front 3. Can they pull away from the pursuers? Will the pursuers stay out of trouble a little bit and just let them get on with it? I do think if it came to the last few laps and it's like this, that's exactly what they will let them do.
Yeah, speaking to a few of the riders, particularly Alex Marquez, he was saying, my advice really was if I was in with a shout with 5 laps to go, but the others were there, I'd stay out of the way. If not, then obviously I'm free rein to go for it, but he won't want to mess things up at all. They may be young lads, but they're not silly lads.
You wouldn't say that sometimes when you see them ride,
well,
would you? No, but
in this situation, you hope.
Yeah. So we're settling down into a familiar pattern now. We're used to this, and there may be a bit of swapping around, but this won't matter. It's those last 4 or 5 laps, and it'll be very interesting to see what the strategy will be. Will somebody try to go a little bit early? Do you want to be leading coming into that last bend? It's a very, very difficult situation, and Luis Salom said in particular, they work the strategy out before the race and they stick to it.
And it's worked 95% of the time. As what he said this year. Didn't quite go to plan in Australia, did it? He left it a little bit too late there. You just see Vinales pushing on the pace, but it's nothing that Salom and Rins can't match. And they are pulling away slightly from Jonas Folger now. All 3 of them, a couple of tenths here, quicker than Folger. And yeah, you can see it's not going to be decided at this time. Alex Rins just having to take a wide line to make sure he doesn't go through on Salom. And we've seen this on occasion. Salom in the early stages he looks as though he might be a little bit off the pace, but he'll be there come the end. And Rins has almost said, right, I don't want to just risk it too much and allow Vinales to get away. So he now comes through on Salom and takes over in second spot. Salom on the inside, though, fight straight back. They don't want to make too much of this one, allow Vinales a bit of free rein to get away. They don't want to start, thinking it's between those two when Vinales can just cruise to victory.
Well, in that amazing first year he had, Maverick Vinales, we saw that actually he could run away in a race. Yeah. Okay, it's more difficult now, and it was a 1-2-5 rather than Moto3, wasn't it? But he is very capable of running a race at the front, but that's not going to happen today. I was a bit surprised, actually, Louis Salom fought back so quickly against Alex Rins, but again, a bit of a moment there for Rins.
It's a big moment, isn't it? And that was just the nerves there, you imagine, as he saw that Salom had come back on him, and he's trying to follow Salom through turn 13, but that means he has to do a bit more work to get back towards Salom and Vinales. Vinales is pushing hard, though, 139.9. Well, that's a very decent lap, would have done well in qualifying, that one. But you can see how that final corner there just affected things and just dropped Rins back a touch down that straight. If things ended like this, then Vinales would be world champion. You can't imagine that it's going to be allowed to be as simple as that, a stroll to the line.
Well, you know exactly why Louis Salom fought back at turn 7 the way he did, because he unsettled Rins just a little bit, didn't he? And we just saw that bit of a mistake, a bit of a nervous mistake from Alex Rins after Salom came straight back at him. So that's why he did it.
Well, you heard from him about Japan, that he was thinking too much in the race. This was the moment from Rins, up and out of the seat, and his heart will have been in his mouth for a couple of moments there. Alex Rins, thankfully he brings it back in line. He's highly rated, is Rins. Lots of people are looking at him for the future, as again Salom just shows that wheel to Vinales. He's trying to play a few games. He clearly is very confident in his own abilities.
He's definitely been told, and has spoken to the team about it, to make it quite rough and tough at this stage, and he's done exactly that. But Rins is now closed right up on his rear wheel, and it's back to normal. What can the likes of Jonas Folger and Jack Miller do? We've seen this so many times. They tend to drop off the pace a little bit towards the end, but if these three start playing silly games...
I wonder if Vinales has just dropped the pace slightly, the way that we've seen Folger and Miller close up once more, because Salom and Rins have closed up on him very quickly indeed on this lap. They were in 39.9s, both he and Salom. Rins with that mistake of 40.2. Across the line this time from Vinales, and it's a 40.2. Fastest rider on the circuit on that lap was Rins, as Salom now comes through on the inside again, lets Vinales know he's there.
20 laps to go. This is really just this is the first course of what should be a delicious meal, and they're just sorting each other out a little bit at the moment. No big mistakes, just one moment for Rins.
It's jabbing, isn't it?
Yeah,
sparring with each other. No big hits put in just yet. No haymakers put through just at the moment. Don't let your guard down, though, because just one moment of brain fade could sentence the World Championship.
It's very interesting what Dylan said when we were asking about who's going to win the race. He's so right, that Maverick Vinales thought he was out of it. He's got absolutely nothing to lose, because he never thought he was going to be in this situation. But can he regain the ability to win races? That's his problem. I got to say, I think Salom at the moment looks very strong indeed. I'm very confident.
All credit to Folger and Miller, though, for tagging onto the back of this group. Now, maybe the pace isn't as high as they expected at the front, and Salom just looks content to not even take it on, to just stay in behind Vinales, almost if he probably has the pace to go even quicker. But if Vinales wants to slow the pace, as long as I'm here, as long as I'm right behind him in second, I'm not too worried at this moment. Folger getting very close on this lap to Rins, and I wonder if there will be any moves from him. Again, they're just looking for good results here. So there's nothing that Folger, he owes nothing to anybody from the front three. And same for Miller, desperate for his first podium in Grand Prix racing, and he's looked extremely good this weekend. It's a track that should suit the Honda a lot more than some of the others we've been to.
The only problem for Jack Miller is that he is replacing Louis Salom in the IO Red Bull Motorsport team next year, and obviously he doesn't want to get too involved with him and cause problems, but he's got to think about his season and how he'd love to finish what's been such a great season with his first podium finish.
Well, it's earned him that right to take Louis Salom's bike next season in the Moto3 World Championship. And look at the Team Calvo garage, packed to the brim, all there supporting Maverick Vinales. Great to see, isn't it? Not just in the grandstands, but in the pit garages as well.
Settling into a little bit of a pattern. As you say, I think the pace just slowed enough for Jack Miller and Jonas Folger to stay with the trio. You imagine that Vinales, well, any of the three of them, can up the pace, but they're quite happy as things stand at the moment.
Well, one thing I'm intrigued by, Rins, we saw him make the move on Salom. And Rins, how many times this season have we seen him early on in the race try and hit the front and try and stretch them a bit? It is a different bit of a tactic from Rins today, to sit in there behind Salom, not do anything too drastic. Yes, we saw that manoeuvre, we saw that tiny mistake from him coming through this corner at turn 13 on the second lap. However, it's not like he's there pressuring and thinking he has to be there on Vinales, and keeping it quite tight, saving something for the end. And that means it should be a great showdown of the last couple of laps.
Do you have it? You have your strategy worked out, and you probably had worked out that it's going to be like this to those last 4 or 5 laps. Obviously, sometimes you have to change that strategy. We were saying how well Louis Salom had done. That's exactly right. He did go maybe even a little late in Australia, and that caused him to make a mistake, didn't it? Which is pretty rare for him in those last few laps.
I'm impressed this year about Salom with the way his riding has changed, and I do give a lot of credit to the team for that, to Aki Ayo. He was known as a bit of a wild child, a bit of a wild man on the track as well in the past, Louis Salom. Never quite had the machinery that the others had, but was one of those that we put in the bracket, Efren Vazquez, someone like that, a really hard charger. But Aki Ayo's influence has brought this inner calm almost on Salom. Believe in your own abilities, believe that you are good enough, have confidence to save things to the latter stages and not make a scrap of it, save something to the latter stages. I've been really impressed by his development from the start of this season as well.
There's a terrific advert also for the Red Bull Rookies, isn't it? That he was a Red Bull Rookies Cup winner, and here he is now challenging for the world title. And he's come all the way up through the system. He will be in Moto2 next year. And who will his teammate be? The man is in front of him, Maverick Vinales. They will ride for the Pons team next year in Moto2. This is so familiar, this even with Miller and Folger there, isn't it? We've seen this so many times this season. And you just settle back and you wait for those final explosive last few laps.
Salom looks strong to me coming into this final corner. Every single lap he's closed right upon the brakes on Vinales. Every single time we've gone through turn 14. Something in the latter stages which could prove crucial. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, and now Salom does take charge, so he's not sitting and waiting too much longer. A little bit wide into turn 1 that time from Louis Salom, perhaps starting to play a few games with Maverick Vinales. Vinales will now tuck it in behind again. Salom just holds the door open and says, come on Maverick, if you want to go through, I'm there. But he doesn't take the bait this time, Vinales.
He is playing a few games, Louis Salom. Perhaps that we haven't seen this. It's another side of him. He played a few games with Alex Rins early in the race, and now you're dead right. He invited him to come through there. I think he would like to break it up to a threesome rather than a fivesome, don't you, if he can. If he can up the pace a little bit and just get Folger and Miller off their backs, I think they would, all three of them, would be happy with that situation. But 16 and a half laps to go. It's a long, long way to go. Vinales again pulls right up on the rear wheel of Louis Salom as they come down through 10, down towards 11.
Just further back, just to make it clear the situation of the other riders in the race. Of course, we've got the top 3 up there with Folger and Miller behind. Then it's Alex Marquez 3 seconds down with Efren Vazquez. Further back, Antonelli. Fahmi Karadine in 9th spot. Was on the podium here last year. Nikki Ayo in 10th, and Ana Carrasco in 11th place. She's having a fantastic weekend here in Valencia. She said she's learnt so much over the 3 recent rounds. Philip Hurtle 12th. Brad Binder, the South African, in 13th spot ahead of Vinales. That's Isaac Vinales and Romano Fenati battling with John McPhee for the final point scoring position.
Yeah, Miguel Oliveira in 17th had a tough old weekend. I think he crashed out in the morning warm-up. He certainly crashed out in qualifying, didn't he? And that's why he's had to start so far down the grid.
So Salom has taken charge of this one now. He really has dropped the lap times. He did a 139.7 on the previous lap, follows it up with a 140.5, almost a second slower.
Very interesting indeed. And Folger and Miller are right there. And slow the pace up, yeah, but you really don't want Folger to start getting in front or getting into that trio, or Jack Miller, do you? Because that could cause... it just completely changes the game, doesn't it?
To now, it's been very sensible from Folger, I have to say. He hasn't tried anything risky. I think if he were to make a pass, it would have to be something he's really comfortable about doing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be the man that wrecks somebody's chance of winning a world title. It's just panning out as we expected it would. Perhaps we didn't expect Folger and Miller to be so close, but if you do look back to other races, they have been at this stage. The lap times are fluctuating. Salom has played it very, very cannily indeed, with quite a tough re-overtaking manoeuvre on Alex Rins, and also getting past Vinales and then inviting him back past. He's the man that's playing the games at the moment.
That's John McPhee, who has crashed out of 15th place, having just taken that spot from Fenati. He's got the contract for next year, and he didn't want to end the season like that, but Tom McPhee is now out of the race.
Onto the start and finish straight they come. It'll be a lot more interesting on that very last lap of the race. Across the line with 15 laps to go, down towards turn 1. Vinales retakes the lead. Salom quite happy for that to happen.
Yeah, again, it was another mid-140 lap, so Vinales thinking, OK, I'm not going to allow Salom to be this comfortable and save something for the end of the race. I'm going to try and push that pace on a little bit more, so Salom will just have to readjust. Change those braking markers back to the faster laps rather than taking it easy around the track.
This is how you want a world championship decided, don't you? The 3 who can win the world title out there, but 5 riders fighting for the lead as we watched. He actually came back in at him quite a bit,
yeah,
didn't
very
he?
close.
Yeah, quite aggressive. And I think he felt that perhaps Salom had been quite aggressive a little bit early on. And I think in this situation, you've got to be aggressive, haven't you? Take no prisoners. This isn't a gentleman's game of cricket, is it, on a Sunday afternoon?
It's interesting to see Rins as well, isn't it? Just sitting at the back of the trio. Happy to watch them as long as they're not pulling away at the front. Cool. It's nice to see after Japan, when it clearly got to him, knowing that Salom was out of the race. He said he was thinking about it, knew he just had to bring the bike home, and he didn't manage to do so. It sort of got the better of him, got in his head, started riding differently, and down he went, very uncharacteristic. Only his second crash of the season in races. Of course, the other one was out of second place at home in Jerez.
Yeah, God, if he'd have stayed on in that race, he'd have been in a lot better position. But as we were saying earlier, if, but, and everything else, it doesn't matter. This is what the situation is. The 3 riders who lead this race with 14 laps to go, who crosses the line first, will be crowned the world champion.
Gage Salom
They're a bit wary, aren't they,
through.
Folger? Don't you think Folger's a bit wary in 4th place?
You can't blame him.
No.
As you say, you don't want to be that rider. Vinales 39.8, so suddenly another 7/10 quicker on that lap, but Salom's right there. He looks very comfortable, and so does Rins, really. It's bubbling up nicely, ready to hit the boil in about 13 and a half laps time. We're not even at half race distance just yet.
I wonder if before then somebody will try to make a move. You would imagine the 2 riders who are behind, as it is at the moment, Salom and Rins, will have every base covered, won't they? They won't let anybody get away.
The thing that Salom was doing, though, in terms of slowing things down at the front, it just breaks the rhythm. If you're in a nice rhythm in the race, every lap he's almost reeled off easy, even if they're super fast laps as well. But he's just trying to break the rhythm of the other riders, and now Vinales is up to it once more. Just takes a couple of moments, couple of laps perhaps to get back into it. And you see, as the pace just up, Folger just dropping back a touch, but nothing to speak of too much.
Absolutely line astern at the moment. Just sizing each other up. As we say, Louis Salom in particular, we know will have a strategy. All the others will have a strategy, but sometimes you've got to change that strategy because of the circumstances.
You see that from Salom again, how strong he looked into that final corner. He almost had to roll off a little bit so he didn't collide with Vinales coming into the home straight that time. Look at the gap he's making up on Vinales. Certainly looks like he's got the engine today, Salom. It was a good line actually into the final corner to get the drive down that front straight.
This is Alex Marquez in 6th place with Efren Vasquez behind him. Nicolo Antonelli, good ride by the Italian. Let's hope he stays on board. And Fahmi Karadin in front of Anna Carrasco. That's the battle for 9th place.
Yeah, and they've pulled away now from Philip Ertl. Got a second or so with Nicky Ayo in there. Brilliant ride from Anna, this one. Really good. And good to see Fahmi back up in that top 10 after all the injury problems he's suffered over the last few rounds. Hasn't been in that top 10 since San Marino, as Nicky Ayo goes down just as we're watching him through turn 3. And let's hope that he's okay in there, the young Finn.
How difficult that is for his dad, isn't it? Watching his son crash, but having to concentrate on what's happening at the front with his rider Louis Salom chasing the championship.
Well, let's hope that Nicky is okay. The medical team will be down there straight away. It looks like he's gradually getting to his feet, but there he is at the back. Oh, yeah, it is a nasty one, the way that rear tyre let go through turn 3. We've seen a couple of those this weekend. It's not the grippiest surface in Valencia. Quite greasy, the riders do say.
Back at the front as Nicholas Ayer walks away. Unfortunate end of the season for the Finnish rider. At the front, fun and games continue. Still Vinales leads the way, Salom tight. Rings tight. I'm sure Salom perhaps is practicing on that last bend for a last bend manoeuvre, and he's letting Vinales know that he's got it sorted, got it sussed, and got the run to the line sussed.
Now Alex Rins got very close to Salom that time coming through the final corner. Is there a chance for a move here from Rins? He thinks about it, but realises that doesn't need to do anything at this stage of the race. We're halfway through the final showdown in Moto3. Winner takes all between this leading trio. You win the race, you win the championship, and it looks as though that's how this will be decided, with 12 laps down and 12 to go.
Vinales chasing his first Grand Prix victory since Le Mans in France. Just 2 wins for him this season.
That seems years ago now.
Oh, yeah. Quite a lot's happened since then,
yeah,
hasn't
just
it?
a few things.
Yeah, but he's going to win another one. This is the one to do it. Louis Salom, of course, with those 7 Grand Prix wins. Alex Rins with 6 Grand Prix victories. And faithfully following them throughout so far. Jonas Folger and Jack Miller are doing an excellent job, but won't receive any praise whatsoever when it comes down to the final crunch.
That's Livio Loy, who seems to have crashed out. Luca Amato, are being told as well, is someone else to have gone down. This looks like it's up at turn 2. Oh, a nasty one there. Oh, he just collided with Bagnaia, was that, who ran off track.
Wanted to go chasing after him. I think we'd have a few words. Back at the front. 11.5 laps to go. It's only just over half distance. It's amazing, isn't it?
Salom in these fast corners looks really strong.
He does.
Through turn 8, 7 and 8, and then into there in turn 13 as well, into 14. Every single time looks strong.
He looks very strong for that final turn 14 onto the start and finish straight. Pulls alongside Maverick Vinales as they come down towards turn 1. And really did what Vinales did to him a couple of laps ago. It's all part of the game that they are playing.
Vinales now back at turn 2. Here it's
Listen to the crowd.
Starting to boil.
Yeah. Bit earlier than perhaps we thought.
Simmer down, boys.
Yeah, we don't. You're not supposed to be doing this until a lot nearer the end of the race.
Still Folger and Miller aren't out of this. And look, there's a handkerchief you can chuck over that front 3 now. Vinales sits up and has a look round. Games are starting to be played. Rins has a big look around as well at Folger and Miller, but they're being very patient, you have to say, as the pace is being slowed. And these 3 at the front start thinking a bit too much. And you just wonder, do you just need to settle into a rhythm?
Alex? Oh, here comes Rins up the inside, up into second place. That's the first real move we've seen from Rins for a long, long time in this race.
Interestingly, the way Folger sat up there and allowed Salom the room, in a normal situation, I reckon Folger would have just shoved the bike up on the inside of Salom, but he gave him room to get back into it.
You said they were jabbing. I think they're jabbing still, but I think there's a few coming a bit tougher punches coming in now, don't you? They're just sizing each other up a bit more now.
Down into the final corner once more. Rins then making a first move that we've seen from, well, second move I suppose we've seen from him, but the first one to have stuck as he goes up into second place. Will he have a go at Vinales now and try and lead this one out?
Perhaps he feels they ought to up the pace. Will he come out of the slipstream now? Salom is also there. He's side by side. I think Louis Salom thought about it. Here comes Alex Rins, all quite aggressive. And Rins now leads the way through turn 1.
And the Rins fans get to their feet this time. And it's like a football crowd out there, isn't it? You can hear them every single time. There's a move made, the cheers and gasps from certain sections of the crowd. Their lap times on that previous one in the 1:41s, so a second and a half slower than they have been at certain points of the race, just shows how they're trying to play with each other. And Salom has gone down. Louis Salom will not be Moto3 world champion. Playing too much. Louis Salom is out of it. That's it. It won't be the Mallorcans' day.
Now it's between two, Maverick Vinales and Alex Rins. Louis Salom crashes out. His chance has gone of winning the world title.
He just dropped it front end at turn 5. A routine corner, it would seem like, and he has gone down and he has crashed out. He needs the other two to crash to have any chance of winning this World Championship now. He's going to need the front two to scrap it out between themselves. Oh my goodness, what a way to let the championship slip from your fingers.
Reminded me of Alex Rins in Motegi. Seemingly the race still a long way to run and just crashing out. Perhaps the tactics, perhaps what's going on. But he seemed so comfortable, didn't he?
Well, the pace was slowing down, but was it slowing down too much? That he just lost that concentration. They're all being told 39 KO. Salom is out of it now.
Wow, right then. Sorry, Dylan.
No, also the guys at Dunlop say if you do slow down even that little bit, you can lose that. You can lose the tyre pressure you need, and that then changes the levels of grip and tyre temperature.
Well, that's the warning to the front two. Up the pace, get rid of Folger and Miller, and it's a straight fight now between the two young Spaniards, and here is Louis Salom.
16th spot, so out of the points even. Oh, what a desperate finish to the season for Salom. He's led since the Barcelona round of the championship, and the front just going there, just didn't seem to have it into the corner at all. Runs after his bike, tries to get back in, but it's a forlorn run for him unless something happens between these two.
And if we look back at Motegi 2 weeks ago, this still may not be over. And I think Alex Rins won the Spanish championship, didn't he? Crash in the race.
Crashed on the warm-up lap actually in that time, and Alex Marquez, who he was battling at the time, then went on and crashed in the race. So
red flagged, and Rins was the champion. But I don't know, when that goes out that board, I suppose it does help you, but it must make you think, whoa.
Alex Rins will remember Japan.
Yeah, that's right, when they told him that Salom was out then.
But now he just still knows he needs to beat Vinales. Well, that has really upped the ante now between these two. Maverick Vinales, is it the cool head that's, well, I wouldn't say experienced head now, but he's the more experienced of this duo. Third season, Rins in his second season in the championship. Rins was the Rookie of the Year last year. Vinales, the Rookie of the Year the previous season.
What must be going through their young heads now? 8 laps to go, down towards turn 1. Folger, as Rins takes the lead from Vinales, Folger will be thinking, actually, I'll just stick to third place and have a podium, I think. I think that'll be the safest way to do this.
Of course, there's a podium up for grabs now between Folger and Miller. They're going to have their own battle for that final spot on the back box. And Jack Miller's eyes will have lit up at that, thinking, right, the bike I'm taking next year, I'm not going to cause anyone problems now. Can I take my first podium in Grand Prix racing?
Here's Louis Salom. What's going through his mind for the second weekend in succession? He has crashed out at an absolutely crucial time. And as we stand at the moment, that would be Rins as the world champion, but that's only because he's leading the race. It's very simple mathematics. Out of these two, who wins the race will be the world champion. And you're right, I think it'll be a cracking battle now for the final podium position. I really don't think Folger and Miller will get involved in these two at the front.
I cannot believe that Salom, who's been the cool customer all season, has dropped out of it. He looked to have it all under control, but as Dylan said, as we suggested, slowing the pace just drops the temperature of the tyres, the air pressure as well, and just thinking about things perhaps a little bit too much.
Well, could be through the switchback, right then left, up through turn 13, over the top, down towards 14. Will it be like this with 7 laps to go on their very last run to the line? Are they planning what to do in this situation? Will Jonas Folger get involved with Jack Miller?
Salom is now back into the points because Nicolo Antonelli has crashed out of the race, so he's up into 15th spot, but 6 seconds down on Oliveira as Vinales now looks to take charge. Look how close he gets to Rins, really let him know he was there. Pulled across a little bit in front of Rins as well, coming down into turn 1. Rins looks behind and he'll see that big number 94 behind him of Jonas Folger. But Folger and Miller, you have to give credit to them for not making a mess of things. That's to say we've still got just under 7 laps to go. Anything still could happen.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate Louis Salom, but there's only one person to blame, and it was him, wasn't it? Nobody else was involved in that incident. Now, Vinales up the pace. You would imagine Rins could stay with him. What is going to happen when they go into that last lap? There's Jack Miller. We've hardly spoken about him having a great ride, the Aussie, in 4th place. Still chasing that first podium finish of the season. What an end of the season it would be for him, of course, joining the Red Bull team next season.
If he were to finish 4th, that would be his best result of the season anyway. He has previously had a 4th last year, but hasn't had a better than 5th all season, so whatever he does from here, it will be a best result. Can he take a first spot on the box, though? That'd be a great result for the Aussie.
Anna Carrasco now running in 8th place.
Excellent.
That's a superb performance by her.
She was briefly up in 7th, but Masbu, who started from pit lane, has put in a superb effort to go into 7th now.
Well, that will also further Grand Prix education, having to fight for a place with Alexei Masbu.
Vinales now just trying to stretch Rins out here. It was a 1:40.5 on the previous lap. Is he just up the pace now with 6 laps remaining? Just a third of this race to go. A third, a quarter, should I say.
Down towards turn 1 they come. Jonas Folger very close indeed to Alex Rins. And I think you're right, there's a couple of occasions where he wouldn't have been so polite. This time he just wants to stay out of all sorts of problems.
Salom has to keep going because, as we say, if there is a collision, if the front two do come together, he needs to be there. He is leading the championship, and he's, of course, if the other two were to crash out, he would be the crowned the world champion. Just saying to him, if you keep going, there's every chance you can make it up to 7th, 8th place. Could be vital, depending on what happens. Jack Miller seems to have just dropped off this front trio now. I'm not sure where he's gone, actually. He's not there at all on our screens. Oh, Miller is down. Jack Miller has gone down, looks like through turn 3, perhaps. Oh, the bike as well. Bits of the bike in the middle of the track. And Miller was just trying to tag along with the front runners. And unfortunately, he's having to walk away, so Miller won't be taking his best results of the season.
Makes life a lot easier for Jonas Folger, you've got to say. He'll set for a safe 3rd place now, one would imagine, and just let these two decide the outcome of the 2013 Moto3 World Championship. Drama indeed of these last 1.5, well, 1 3/4 races. Teggy in Japan, we saw Salom and Rins crash out, and now we've seen Salom, who looks so comfortable, crashing out, and his poor old Jack Miller. His season and his race over.
So, his race over. Luis Salom, one of the championship contenders, has fallen by the wayside. It's scrap to the line now between Vinales and Rins. Again, if Folger were to win the race, whoever was second would take the championship.
Side by side, they come down in towards turn 1. It's Vinales that still holds the advantage. He's 18-year-old. Alex Rins is 17 years old. Folger will enjoy watching this, one would imagine, from a safe distance. And
He's got the best seat in the house now.
He has, and you're so right what you said about Louis Salom. You've got to keep going because you just don't know what happens in these Moto3 races.
Well, he's now up to 14th anyway.
So that would be enough, wouldn't it, for him to, well, he'd be...
A couple of points.
If they, yeah, obviously both would have to not finish the race, so he would be the world champion.
But it could get hairy. It could turn into a bit of a knife fight, this one, on that final lap. 4.5 laps to go now. Folger just sitting tight. I think he's ridden an excellent race. Not sure if in a normal race he'd have been able to stick with them, but they have been playing around with things a bit, and it's helped Folger. He has ridden well and just sat there.
Good to see him back in form. Pole position here last year, Jonas Folger. Decent Moto3 rider going up to Moto2 next year. As well, Alex Rins, if he wins the title, is going to go up. Of course, Maverick Vinales already signed for the Pons team alongside Louis Salom next season in Moto2.
I remember when both these riders first caught our attention, really. Vinales, of course, it was the opening round in Qatar when he came onto the scene in 2011, but won that race in Le Mans in tricky conditions in 2011, and we said then, this guy is a champion in the making. Rins, when he took pole, actually, last year, wasn't it, in Barcelona?
Was it Barcelona? It was a Spanish race, I remember, and I thought, hello.
This kid's a bit special.
Yeah.
Both Spanish champions in the past.
4 laps to go. We've had some fun and games already. We've lost Louis Salom, but now it's coming to crunch time.
Pace is being upped by Viñales gradually, back down into the 139s now from him. He's from Rosas in the northeast of Catalonia. Alex Rins himself is from Barcelona. So it's the city boy against the country boy here.
Just went past, through turns 4 and 5, and that's of course where Louis Salom just fell. Amazing crash with nobody else really involved in it. Through turn 7, that fast left-hand king. 3.5 laps to go. The crowd are going absolutely crazy. One part of the stadium is quiet now, and that's the people have come from Mallorca to support Louis Salom. Those flags have dropped down. It's all about the 2 at the front.
Viñales is pushing on hard here. He knows he's not got the threat of Salom to try and nick things off him in the final stage now. So he's trying to stretch out Rins, make him work hard for it. Through the switchback, 12 into 13. Around the looping crest of turn 13, and then the blind entry into turn 14. And Rins gets extremely tight to the back. He almost could reach out and touch that rear wheel of Maverick Viñales as they come down the straight. There'll be 3 laps to go, and I think Rins is lining up a move down into turn 1.
Certainly is, comes out of the slipstream. Viñales is making life very, very hard for him. Excellent stuff from Maverick Viñales, not letting him through. Rins perhaps rehearsing at turn 14 and the run to the line, what he's going to do on that very last lap.
Here he comes into Doohan Corner, and Alex Rins now takes over. Here we go. The blue touch paper has been lit. Are we going to see fireworks on this final 2.5 laps as Viñales, a little bit wide coming through turn 3, will lose a little bit to Rins?
I reckon Rins are going to get the hammer down now. It's not a big gap, but it is a little bit of a gap. He did run it a little bit wide, but Viñales immediately pulls back the advantage. 2.5 laps to go to decide the outcome of the 2013 Moto3 World Championship. It could not get any closer than this. Shame Louis Salom's not in it, as they're almost side by side once again. But it's Rins that holds the advantage just at turn 8.
Well, Rins said he'd been watching how Louis Salom had ridden his tactics of coming on late in a race, and he's almost done a Salom-style race, hasn't he? Just leaving it now. 3 laps to the end, he takes over at the front, and he's trying to push things on in terms of the lap times. Let's say it'll be interesting to see what this lap is. Jonas Folger has a chance to go through on Viñales, but he actually almost sits up to allow Viñales back in front of him. Did Viñales miss a gear or something?
And then momentarily I thought he was coming through then, Folger. My golly, what an advantage that would have been for Alex Rins. He hasn't come through. I've got to say, Viñales is looking a bit ragged to me.
Well,
and Rins is really putting on the pressure.
I want to see this lap time now. It had been in the low 140s as he comes through. Rins, no, a 140.5. So the move just slowed them down on that lap. A blocked line on the inside for Viñales. He goes to the outside and will try and get the run down towards turn 2 now.
Just under 2 laps ago, they come up towards the Mick Doohan corner, aptly named the 5 times world champion. Wouldn't he love this sort of action as Viñales takes the lead and Rins takes him back?
Here we go, it really is. Gloves are off time now. This is bare knuckle stuff in Moto3 as they go into the double apex of turns 4 and then into 5, back up the hill towards the banks of fans who are sitting here at the Valencia circuit, and they're getting value for money in this one. Up in towards Angel Nieto corner. He'd be proud of these two battling it out in the final race, in the final couple of laps in the lightweight class.
On the back straight, this very fast left-hand king. Viñales lining up for turn 8. Viñales on the inside. No way back for Rins. Viñales takes the lead. Can he hold it steady? He can.
Brilliant, that one. The way he took it, and Rins was thinking, well, hopefully he'll run it wide. He doesn't. He was planted solid. So Viñales now leads into turn 11. Where is the decisive move going to be made? Is it going to be into that last corner? Is it going to be all about the run to the line? You've got to think it has to be.
I reckon as an absolute dead cert here on the last lap. It's where they're going to be making all their moves. Up towards turn 13, over the rise to 14. Rins weighs it up once again. They want to get a good run down and and perhaps get past Vinales at turn 1? Or is he happy right behind him to be there on that very last lap? 1 to go here in Valencia.
As they cross the line, nothing to choose between them. Less than a tenth of a second across the line. Rins alongside Vinales, and he's going to go through to take the lead into turn 1. Just 4 kilometres left, 2.5 miles in this Moto3 World Championship. He's going right down to the wire. Rins tries to block the line into 2, but he doesn't do it enough. Vinales pushes hard into the corner. Rins will come back on the inside into turn 3.
What a race, and they're absolutely side by side as they come down towards 4. Vinales just holds the advantage. Jonas Folger thinks, I'm keeping out of this, I'm just going to watch.
He's ready to pick up the pieces if they do collide now up towards turn 6. Is there a way through here for Rins, or will he do it? Surely it's got to be on the back straight now, but surely this is going right down to the final corner, to turn 14. In front of the fans, they go for the final time. Into the fast turn 7, the kink on that back straight, and it will tighten for turn 8. Vinales still holds the advantage.
Great riding there by Vinales into turn 8. Very, very defensive. Rins wanted to come through, not able to do so. Through 9 and 10, up towards the slow corner 11. It's going to come down to that final corner.
Look how Rins has gone wide into turn 11. He wants the drive, doesn't he, up towards the switchback now. Here he is. Is he going to try something a little bit early, or is it all about the final corner? It has to be now, as Vinales leads them through. One more bend to go. Vinales leading from Alex Rins. He's going right down to the wire. Who will come out on top? Who's going to break latest? Rins goes right through and aggressively on Vinales, but it's all about the run to the line.
Maverick Vinales holds the advantage. Maverick Vinales with his 3rd Grand Prix victory of the season. Maverick Vinales, 2013 Moto3 World Champion.
Absolutely brilliant. Folger pipped Rins to 2nd place as well, but Vinales has done it. Less wins than the other 2, and he's come through. All that promise fulfilled. He can't believe it. Nor can Team Calvo. They didn't think they were even in with a chance a couple of races ago in Australia, but they are now the world champions.
Oh, Louis Salom, nothing he can do but cross the line and accept 3rd place in the World Championship.
Oh, it must be devastating for him. Applause from his team down there as well, but well done to Vinales. He judged it to perfection, didn't he? Rins tried to come through so aggressively, but he was brave, held the bike in there and got the drive down the home straight as well. Vinales is champion. His cousin Isaac is there as well to celebrate. Ana Carrasco, his teammate, she's just taken 8th place, her best result in Grand Prix racing, but it's all going to be about Maverick. And I have to say, Alex Rins, as he came across the line,
clapped his hands.
He was clapping his hands, applauding. He knew that he'd been outdone by Vinales today. He cannot believe it.
His last Grand Prix victory came at Le Mans in France. He saved up the big one, and the guy that was absolutely out of the World Championship has come back. The 18-year-old Spaniard, Maverick Vinales, maybe only his 3rd win. He's won the world title.
Oh, well done as well to Rins and Salom. That's really touching. Really nice to see. They've both done a fantastic season. It looks like Rins may stay on now and try and go for the title next year in Moto3. But all credit to Vinales for coming through in the end.
I'm not sure what that is. Is it big number 1?
The giant number 1, yeah.
Yeah, not completely.
I wonder who's in it.
Pablo Nieto, I think he's a fabulous stuff.
I bet Pablo's on the floor. I can't imagine that he's standing.
I expect Dylan wants to speak to him, but he's got absolutely no chance at all.
I'm not muscling my way into that clan there.
This
Here
was the
we
final
go.
corner. Rins made a very aggressive move. Look at that, just dragged it to the outside. But how brave is that from Vinales to tuck it back on the inside? That's the problem. If you fire it in too much, you lose the drive down the line, and well done to Folger. Didn't play any parts in the race. Knew it was all about the drag to the line in the end. Great from Vinales. Bravery par excellence from him. He's going to come through.
And from the moment he got back at him, Rins knew, didn't he? Rins knew.
Well, Rins let the brakes off.
He knew then that the championship had
He
gone.
let the brakes off in the middle of the corner, trying to upset Vinales and make him run wide, but it wasn't to be, and all credit to Vinales for that one. Folger and Rins separated by a thousandth of a second. They can't believe it in there, can they? Look at that. It's like scoring the winning goal in the World Cup. Well, it is. the winning goal in the World
Absolutely it is.
Championship.
And it's in the 91st minute as well, isn't it?
Injury time winner, but amazing stuff. Well done to Vinales. Who'd have believed it? And look at that from Rins. That just shows. Look at that, big thumbs up.
Well done, Alex Rins. He couldn't have given. I'm sure he will say he just could not have given any more. And when it came to producing the bend of his life, the race of his life, he pulled it out of the locker, didn't he, Maverick Vinales?
Well, it says a lot. What do we say when he won his first Grand Prix back in Le Mans in his debut season? He's a future world champion. Well, now, when he lights the tracker, when he lights that run of fireworks and gets them going, they'll start exploding, and he is exploding now, as he did when he first arrived on the world scene.
Wow. Well done, Maverick Vinales. Oh, catch your breath. Take a breather, have a cup of tea, have a pint, do whatever you want. But what a way to decide a world champion. We knew that it was going to be decided that. Just a shame that Louis Salom wasn't in there as well, but there you go.
It could have been one of those where, well, like Folger came through, it could have been easily someone pushed out wide and the third place rider coming through. He can't believe it. And the whole of the Valencia circuit, 90,000 fans in there, on their feet, to welcome home a new world champion. Oh, amazing scenes, and amazing that he's won the championship with 3 victories. Salom with 7, Rins with 6, and Rins getting a hero's welcome from his team as well. Look, he really put it on the line there.
He couldn't have done any more, could he? It's not like you crashed, it wasn't like you dropped back at the wrong moment. He fought it right all the way in there.
Well, he knows, and there is Louis Salom. Look at that. Really nice moment from the rider who's led since the Barcelona race of the championship, and he congratulates the new world champion in Moto3.
You're so right, Gav. I remember when he came onto the scene, and we were convinced, weren't we? And I remember you'd done an early interview with him. You said, this guy is really special. He's an intelligent guy. He's a brilliant rider. And he just had that real hiccup last season, didn't he? And we've got to say that we thought he'd blown it this season as well.
Well, it was the Honda, wasn't it, last year that seemed to be his big downfall. He had a bit of a tantrum, didn't he, at one point? And he resigned from the team, then was forced to fly all the way out to Australia and make up with them as well. And that's what eventually prompted his move to Pablo Nieto's team. And all credit to Pablo for putting together a squad that's capable of taking Vinales and moving him up to Moto2 now as world champion. We knew it had it in him. We knew it was all there. He's equalled the podium record in any championship with 15, or in Moto3, sorry, with 15. So it's hard to say that all 3 of them deserved it, really.
Yeah, they did, but what they've done is put an incredible 17-round championship together. And there'd be no other motorsport championship that could be decided like that, on the run to the line. 2 riders just giving it absolutely everything. And at the end, okay, showing such sportsmanship as well. And yeah,
it's been
fabulous.
a fair fight all year,
It
really.
has, yeah.
How many times I can't really remember there being too much animosity or any questionable manoeuvres or anything like that. The only one was Isaac Vinales taking out Louis Salom, but that was a complete accident as well. It was his crash that cleared out Salom. No one really could have foreseen that. So, yeah, I think it's been a fair fight all year.
He's back in Parc Ferme. Pablo Nieto would be, I don't know if he'd be in there, probably on the floor still, I think. I don't think he'd probably recovered, but you can see there's tears with the team. Well done, Maverick Vinales, who's probably the one. Well done, Dylan. You told us, and you were absolutely right. So congratulations to you, and Dylan will be talking to the new world champion after the podium ceremony. Have you heard the fireworks go yet?
They were probably there somewhere, but round of applause then for Louis Salom. He's had time to think about it. No, he says come. He actually said before the weekend, look, if we don't come out victorious, we're still proud of the season. They should be, the season they've put together. Yeah, how good has it been for Vinales? Well done to Folger as well for that second place.
It's well done, Alex Rins, but it's sunk in a bit now, hasn't it? And it will rankle with him, and he will look back, I think, to Motegi 2 weeks ago.
There's Maverick with his girlfriend as well. All the components of the team down there, they don't know what to think, say, do. Just delight all the way around. He'll be a wanted man over the next few hours and days and weeks. And then in Moto 2, well, we know he's a real hot talent. What will he be able to provide for us on the intermediate class bikes?
I remember in that first year, I think he had a pole position at Silverstone. Couldn't speak a lot of English. Came to see me. That's the sort of guy he is. Could I write the questions out for him? And could we practice the answers in English, because he was going to do it in English. And that's the sort of guy he is. He's a highly intelligent guy. And, well, brilliant. And well done, Jonas Folger, for great second place, which probably won't receive any publicity whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's as well for Folger. That's his best result of the season. He's had third places on a number of occasions, 3 podiums already, but that's his 4th and his best result. So credit to Folger. And credit for picking up the pieces, taking advantage of the situation.
That's what you do. And bad luck to Jack Miller, who could have been chasing for that first podium finish, but crashed out towards the end of the race.
Alex Marquez did eventually finish 4th. Vazquez was 5th. Masbou 6th. Isaac Vinales was 7th. Ana Carrasco, well, credit to her, her best result of her debut season in 8th place. Good talent there, I think, with Anna down to Ertl in 9th spot. But the big one, of course, Maverick Vinales winning the race and taking the World Championship. There you can see Luis Salom just behind his teammate Fahmi Khairuddin in 14th. He needed something like Japan to happen to have any chance of getting onto the top step or taking the championship after his crash, at turn 5.
Oh, Niccolo Antonelli, another crash, unfortunately, for the Italian. And he has really had a very difficult season. Oh,
time to take a breath, isn't it?
It certainly is time to take a breath.
At least Moto 2 is almost a breather. It's a parade, isn't it, for Pol Espargaro here as the world champion. There's Jack Miller.
But he hasn't done it all his own way either, has he, Pol Espargaro, with a crash in the warm-up this morning. There we go. That's what Maverick Vinales would like to look at. It's confirmation. He is the world champion. Alex Rins in 2nd place. Luis Salom 3rd. Alex Marquez surely is going to be mighty close there next year. Folger, Oliveira, Jack Miller, Alexis Masbou. What a great season for the veteran Frenchman. And Efren Vazquez in 9th place. Of course, he missed a couple of races with that broken collarbone.
We go through the rest of the World Championship. Not too many changes further down the order there. But, of course, it was all about the big one, about Vinales going on and clinching it on the final day. He had a chance to win it. Was it right almost last year, didn't he? He was right there until the penultimate race of the season, even having missed a race. But, yeah, he's done it this time. He's come through, done the business, and fulfilled the potential we've seen for a while now.
Ana Carrasco moving up 6 places after a great 8th place today.
What a day for the team.
World champion and an 8th place for Ana Carrasco, the Calvo team with a Pablo Nieto.
I wonder if they'll be celebrating later on.
No.
A couple of glasses of Tizer, perhaps. Other fizzy drinks are available.
Well, there you go. So there are the trophies for the first 3, and of course the Constructors' Championship. But he'll be wanting to receive that FIM certificate that says 2013 Moto 3 World Champion. That's the one that will really matter to him.
Yeah, Vito Ippolito there just with him. He'll be handing that diploma over to Vinales tonight in Valencia at the Glitzy Awards ceremony.
And who hosts that, by the way?
I have no idea.
I know what his name is.
Some no mark.
Oh, what a way to end the championship. Absolutely brilliant. It's been a fabulous championship all the way through.
You see their T-shirts. They brought out those champion T-shirts. You know there's 2 bags elsewhere in the sort of back of the Salom garage and the back of the Rins garage that will be discreetly put into the rubbish bin, I
They
feel.
will. Well, I remember it's happened to me in the past, and discreetly cut up with scissors and put it away. There he is, the 2013 Moto3 World Champion, wins his 3rd Grand Prix of the season. Congratulations to Maverick Viñales. Tough on Alex Rins, great fight by him in the 3rd place in the race, and Jonas Folger finishing 2nd on the day.
So the president of the Generalitat Valenciana hands over the trophy to the team for victory. But it's not just for the constructor or the team, it's the World Championship, isn't it? They're right in that trophy.
3rd place for Alex Rins. What a great season he's had, and he just lost that on the final bend of the final lap, the final round, in his attempt to win the world title. He'll be back next year and be very, very strong indeed. In 2nd place, well done, Jonas Folger. Great to see him back on the podium. Great ride by the German. But the race winner and the 2013 World Champion, it's the Spaniard, 18 years old, Maverick Viñales.
Only the 3rd win of the season, but never all this. National anthem sounds so sweet. '13 Moto3 World Champion is Spain's Maverick Viñales. There's Ana Carrasco on the shoulders of the team as well after her brilliant performance to take her best of 8th. And thankfully, he does get a little bit of champagne up on the podium. He'll enjoy that one, I'm sure. Having to spray himself because Alex Rins hasn't got any, not old enough.
The party has already started in pit lane. And there it is.
Nice to see, isn't it, between Rins and Viñales.
Ah, look.
Rins wants some. He wants a little taste. Right, Maverick, we're going to have the police behind because we think you were giving drinks to minors there.
What a fabulous 17-round championship it has been, and how important it was, and how we knew it would happen, that it would go down to the wire, didn't we? And that's exactly what it did. Final bend, final lap, an incredible, incredible fight by Alex Rins, but it's Maverick Viñales who came out on top.